back to another video with me, the Rawstrologer. So I analyzed my friend's birth chart. Here it is. She was born at 11:07 in the morning in Whangarei, New Zealand on October 8th, 1988. If there are any numerologists out there watching this, I'm sure you could have a field day with that birth date. That's not my area of expertise. She wanted to remain anonymous because we did go over her chart deeply and we found some issues involving her family and her relationships with her family members, which she would rather not make public. So I'm allowed to make this video under the condition that she remains named Anonymous Friend. Okay, so the sun was in Libra when she was born. People with the sun in Libra have a burning desire for harmony and balance. And they also have a knack for bringing balance to situations and to people. They have desire for close partnerships so that they can share ideas with the people in which they're in partnerships. And they're also really great in the arts. They have a knack for aesthetics and design. She also has Mercury in Libra, which means there's a focus on aesthetics and communicating. So she would be a great poet if she tried. She's friendly and sociable generally. Mercury's comfortable here. Not as comfy as if it were in Virgo or Gemini, but still, Mercury in Libra allows for comfortable socializing and comfortable communicating. Sun is conjunct Mercury here, which means they're just a few degrees apart. So this means there's a lot of comfort in communicating. Communication is authentic. Her style of socializing is authentic to who she truly is and what she truly wants. Okay, so she has the moon in Virgo, which means she's got this unexplained desire to put things into order. As a child, she needed order and harmony in all her surroundings in her home. And if she didn't have that, it could enhance nervousness in situations that aren't harmonious in adulthood, or if she's in an atmosphere that doesn't happen to be harmonious and there's no way to get it there. Sometimes this would indicate that she gets bogged down by details which may drag her away from her core self. Her rising sign is Capricorn, which means she meets the world in a serious manner, and upon initially meeting her, others also see her as a serious person. She's very practical. She meets new situations thinking, consciously or not, how can I be of use here? How can I help to make this better? So she sees things and automatically wants to be of use in some way. This placement also means that others could see her as rigid and stubborn, perhaps. I noticed that the sun in Libra is almost exactly square to her ascendant in Capricorn, which means she may actually come off more serious and less friendly than she means to. She intends to come across with like a beautiful and powerful speech, but instead she comes across as just rigid and stubborn. So there's a block between who she really is and how she's seen initially. I see that she has the moon in Virgo conjunct to her Venus, which is also in Virgo. Which means there's a harmony between her inner feelings and her outer expression of love and her expression of her feelings. So there's a match between her inner emotional life and her outer expressive emotional life. So Venus in Virgo is not normally considered emotionally warm. There's a tendency to put the concrete needs of others before their emotional needs, which she did confirm during this reading. And she said it's not only true when it comes to her relationship with others, it's also true with herself. She tends to put her physical needs before her emotional needs also. And sometimes this would mean that she's also critical of others and herself with this placement. And she shows love by acts of service. That means that would be, in theory, her love language by this kind of angle that the moon and Venus are making. There's no like real flowery displays of affection and expressing feelings. To show she loves you, she gives you what you need, and she would be a great caretaker. Venus is also in trine with Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Although these angles are not very tight, I do believe there's a 6 or 7 degree orb between them, between each of the three angles. But still, there's got to be a little bit of impact there. So Saturn is probably diminishing the positive aspects of Venus here. So she may have an even more diminished emotional warmth in her relationships than we initially analyzed. It would also mean that she'd be cautious when meeting new people. But it does enhance maturity and responsibility in her personal relationships. So when it comes to the trine with Uranus, still not very tight angle. This trine, this angle, Uranus trine her Venus, gives her a unique form of expressing her feelings. And when she shows emotions, and when she's of service to others. It's all very unique and out of the box. This also would indicate that the way she expresses her feelings work for her. There's not a lot of friction when she expresses her feelings. So, okay. Neptune in harmony with Venus here indicates, in general, that her feelings flow easily, and she's also a creative and imaginative person. Mars is right at home in Aries here. This is the place that Mars rules, the sign that Mars rules, which means she takes on whatever she wants to do with gusto. She's very enterprising and she sets out a goal and she achieves it, no problem. This would mean that she's not amazing at group activities, perhaps too self-centered and or too reactive to want to consider others involved in a group, but she's confident and proud and has lots of vitality, and this is a position that dives headfirst into projects. Okay, Mars happens to be squaring off with Chiron, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, which I find to be really prominent here. For the fact that Mars is right at home in Aries, I want to analyze these different squares, and I think there's a lot of life lessons that are showing up in these angles. So this means lots of challenges in the way her core essence meets the world, her talents, who she is to the core, what she naturally gravitates toward. And there's also challenges regarding illusions about herself. So self-delusions, a lot of self-delusions here, and ones that involve her emotional wounds. Let's explore that a little bit. This would indicate that her emotional wounds are constantly interfering with her progress in terms of self-development. And there's also a lot of wounds related to the home and family that are interfering with her self-expression and partnerships. So this is where we started to get into a little bit about family trauma that she experienced as a kid. So I really think she's being taught a lesson about how she dives into projects. She wants to dive in head first, but she's often restricted or blocked somehow. And if what we know about Saturn works true here, that's Saturn protecting her from herself. A lesson that may not be from this lifetime, indicating that for whatever reason, she's not meant to be just diving in head first and doing things without thinking when it comes to projects and also career. So, and there's also often unexplained interferences when she tries to take action, thanks to Uranus. And this will definitely show up in her career life as well. And also there's the notion that things don't add up to be what they promised from the start in terms of career and new projects, thanks to Neptune causing a bit of tension with Mars. So it would mean like reality often rears its ugly head, which she chooses not to see when heading right into a new job or a new project of sorts. And in conclusion, I really think that she's being challenged in how she takes action, which instinctively for her is to just go full force into things. She's got this cardinal cross, which I think is also called a grand square. Chiron is in Cancer, Mars is in Aries, Neptune is in Capricorn, and the Sun is in Libra, just making one big cardinal strong and hefty square in her chart, which means there's tension between aspects of her personality. It's a tug of war situation between satisfaction and self-expression. So it's like she's pulled in such different and powerful directions by her own self, like having multiple different equally strong personalities. It's like a need for autonomy versus a need for partnerships. The positive to this square is that once it's mastered, which all squares do need to be in order for them to become like beacons of light in your life, this can lead to achievements in multiple areas of life having to do with, based on this square, specifically self-expression, self-satisfaction, healing emotional scars, and also taking action. I keep getting into the same pattern here where the way she takes action seems to be a huge part of her life lessons this go around, this lifetime. Her midheaven is in Virgo, which means she's optimistic. She has a real attention for detail, and she's professional development oriented and focused. And there is also a need for peace and tranquility when it comes to family life. But I also noticed Saturn and Uranus are squaring her midheaven at exactly 0 degrees. What does that mean? It means that her ego is challenged by her own impulses to transform her personality, which we talked about for quite some time, and we came to a conclusion that this has to do with her family. And also it would indicate that there was probably a lack of security in early life, whether that was material or emotional or just parents being physically there. I won't get too into detail, but it leads to her having certain current insecurities in her adulthood. And yeah, we really talked about her family life deeply, and it seems like commitment to working on family bonds can help with the insecurities. You know, family bonds that are already in good standing and ones that can still be salvaged will definitely be able to help her with her insecurities. So it looks like she has the North Node in Pisces, and she also has the North Node in the 3rd house, and that means that probably means that her soul's mission is to practice freedom from rigid rules and allow herself to make mistakes. In her past life, she was probably likely rigid or afraid of criticism. Maybe these were put upon her by herself in her past life, or maybe it was due to like the environment in which she was raised in. But more than likely, it means that standards for herself were way too strict. So in this life, she's meant to let loose a little bit. Probably in the past, she was absorbed by ideas as well, forgetting about the people around her. So one of her lessons would be to learn to work with the people around her, to have fun, engage in small talk. And it seems like in the past life, she might have sacrificed connections with others. So this time around, it's less about philosophy and living life according to those philosophies. It's more about just connecting with the people around you, whether they agree with you or disagree with you. You know, I'm seeing so many different things going on in this chart, like with Mars and Aries, about taking action, about just diving into projects. And then there's also like the North Node, which is saying you should make mistakes. So it's like, what really is going on here? There's a lot of contradicting stuff. It's something she has to figure out when it comes to taking action and how to consider others. So I see that these patterns are probably interconnected for whatever soul mission she's on, which is super awesome. I'm done. I was really happy to analyze her chart, as I am happy to analyze anybody's chart. It was a lot of fun. Let me know what you think. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.